You will be using your Denman brush for this blow dry. And the first thing we want to do is do a mohawk parting, kind of similar to your roller set parting. And you just want to make sure that it is not wider than the teeth of your comb. Smaller is better. And then you are going to take sections that are the same width as the base of the brush. So see that I'm using my brush to remind myself how big my section should be. And I'm just going in and just parting that all off. So I will be adding these sections up to that very first U-shaped section. And I'm double checking, making sure that my sections are not wider than my brush. And then you will be detangling that section, combing it straight up. And then once you get that all combed out, you do not want to put hair up that is snarly. You're going to hook it, wrap it down, and kind of twist, wind it down, and that will get you really nice, tightly wound up sections. And you'll just be building these sections up on each other. So notice that my partings are nice and clean, and I'm still using that brush to measure. Now, you'll have a little awkward section right above the ear that isn't going to be the thickness of the brush, but that is okay. We want to make sure that this section above it is. And it's always better to have sections that are too small than too wide. So not every head you're going to get a perfect 3 section that's the same width as your Denman. Make sure that your sections are wound up really nice and tight and that you're building on your last section. You want to make sure that you can see your part lines as you're putting each section up. So I will be measuring the width of my brush at the back of the head where there's more hair and ignoring the hair that's right above the ear. And then for this last section, it is always better to have 2 smaller sections than 1 large section. So split this section in half. So I've got 2 kind of mid-sized sections that are slightly smaller than that brush, but that is okay. So split that nape section in half to 2 controllable sections. Here is how to hold your blow dryer. Hold the airflow section with your dominant hand. And with your non-dominant hand, you're going to wrap that cord around your arm. And then you're going to grab the handle, okay? Make sure that your director is pointing straight out. So if you're holding your blow dryer, that director is parallel with the wall. If you're holding your blow dryer where you can read Ceramics Extreme, that director is parallel with the wall. This is very important. Now for how to hold the brush. You're going to hold your brush horizontal, and you're going to use those pinkies and those fingers to help section your sections. Okay, so I will demo this. So notice how my fingers are coming off my blow dryer and my brush. Okay, I'm using those pinkies to get in there to lift that hair and to direct that blow dryer right with that brush. Very important that you are following your brush with your nozzle. Okay, so they are about an inch, maybe 2 inches apart, but keep them very close. Then you're gonna do as many passes down the midsection first. And then once you start to feel that, there's a reason why you're using those pinkies to kind of section the hair and keep it all neat and tidy, is you're feeling for the amount of dryness in the hair so that you know when you can move on. So you're checking in with the hair. Now you're going to be pulling that brush all the way through to the ends. And make sure you're going nice and slow. That is key. We are working towards a very straight and smooth end result. And you're gonna come, section this next section, and then same thing. Just follow that airflow down. I'm trying to keep my elbow out of the way so you can see. And make sure speed is very important. Make sure to really take it slow. It's not about racing through this to get it done. Just really take your time. Go nice and slow. That is key here. And then make sure that you are pulling that brush and your blow dryer directly down towards the floor. We don't want to be lifting this hair up off the neck. So just repeat to yourself when you're doing this blow dry that you are just trying to direct that hair straight down to the floor. You're watching your brush as it's going towards the floor. Again, here I am using my fingers to lift it off my blow dryer. And I'm not turning my airflow off. I want you guys to practice working with the hair with your blow dryer still on. You're going to take a little bit of a dry section from underneath and add it to your top wet section. And you're using those pinkies to help just separate that hair out and to help get it all nice and smooth and combined together. So you're just going to keep and continue doing this. Use those fingers. And notice how I'm really in control with my airflow. Okay, I'm not going in and blowing all the hair with that airflow. I am only focusing that airflow on where I want it to go. So very important. That's why there's a whole strategy. If you use your pinkies to section out your hair in your section, it keeps that airflow away from the hair when you go into section. It naturally just keeps that airflow focused more towards you when you're parting off. Add a little bit of dry hair, and then you're just gonna go nice and slow, straight towards the floor. And the longer you pause through those ends, the smoother you'll get. These mannequins don't have the best ends, we know that, so there's only so much we can get as far as smoothness through the ends. But if you do this right, you'll still see a little bit of shape taking place through those ends, so go nice and slow. So now that you've got an idea, we're gonna speed it up so you can just continue seeing this from start to finish. but more in a faster way. So just know that I sped this up, so that way you can still see how I'm taking the sections, how I'm holding my brush, how I'm holding my blow dryer, how I'm bringing my blow dryer and my brush together through the hair. So you're just gonna watch it in a sped up version now. So continue to add in just a little tiny row of dry hair up to your wet hair, because that will help combine your sections and it actually will help dry the upper section faster. So just that little tip there that will give you a better end result. Now, you're gonna take that last kind of little mini mohawk section and you are going to take horizontal sections across that U mohawk section, okay? So notice how I'm gonna add a little bit of dry hair to it. Sorry, my shoulder got in the way there. So a little bit of dry hair, add it to your brush, and then you're just going to bring this straight back and down. I tipped my mannequin's nose up towards the ceiling, so her head is actually tipped up more towards the ceiling for this part. So that way I can kind of get to it a little bit better. And I'm just following all the same things, but just going directly across. This looks a little awkward, but I'm trying to stay out of the way of the camera so you can see how I'm taking my section. So ignore my creepy looking wrist. Okay, so let me show you this very last section. Now the hair did get a little dry, so please remember to spritz it with water. I should have spritzed this last section because it's hard to get it really smooth, but I'm taking this hair straight back and down. And the reason being I'm not blow drying off her part is because it's really hard to get a really nice smooth result. So it gives a much natural and nicer look if you don't actually blow dry off of their part, but blow dry over their part. That will give it a much better finish and a better movement. So that's why I'm blow drying all this straight back, and you're gonna see, here is my final result. And on our mannequin, she doesn't have a very set part, so you just play with it and find where you like it the best. So I'm gonna split it. But if your client has a more permanent part, it will come through here. They'll just have a better finish.